I don't believe in violence as the reaction to violence. Violence begets violence. For me, I just couldn't connect to violence being the answer. Love had to be the answer.
Damn here. You know, it's sickening to watch the reactions of people on the Chris Rock assault, especially celebrities, and all these people with Twitter status voicing up their opinions on the assault, from the standing ovation that Chris Rock's assailant received at the Oscars, to people justifying and doing some mental gymnastics to justify the attack, the violent attack, to the point of calling the attacker, Will Smith, a hero, a protector, praising him for defending the honor of his wife, for defending black women. Give me a break. That is such BS. And like I said, it's really sickening to watch all this. Number one, we have a work event. It's a work event for people in the movie industry. People in the movie industry are invited to this work event that is celebrating great work, from screenwriting, from directing, from special effects, from sound effects, from all ranges of disciplines in the movie industry. It's a beautiful moment for the people nominated and for the winners. It's a celebration of a job well done. But it is a work event. It's not a wedding, a meeting in a bar. It is a work event. It is a professional event. You can only go in there by invitation. Because it is a work event, there are certain rules that the Academy has imposed on the guests in terms of behavior. You cannot show up intoxicated, disturbing the peace, throwing plates and glasses. No, you will be escorted out. You cannot attack your fellow guests, physically attack them, punch them, slap them, assault them. You will be stopped and escorted out, and charges might even be pressed against you. Same rules as in any events. Number 3, it is understood that at this event, there will be hosts, main hosts, and temporary hosts that are just going to host a little section of the event, introduce a certain category, and move on. At that particular event, the Academy Awards, they invited a comedian, a great comedian, Chris Rock, with the understanding that he was going to come in, crack some jokes, obviously at the detriment of the guests, just to break the ice, keep it relaxed, make people laugh. That's understood. That particular host has been invited before and has hosted the show before. And he has many, many, many stand-ups in his career that spans more than 20 years, 30 years. He is a seasoned comedian, one of the best in the world. Nobody can be surprised at what he brings on the table. When Chris Rock is hosting and roasting an audience, everybody knows what kind of roast we're dealing with. When Ricky Gervais is hosting an event like that, nobody's surprised by now. Sometimes they're a bit shocked, but they take it well. That's been a tradition at such events. It is a tradition, which brings me to the Academy Award and the assault on Chris Rock. Chris Rock arrives hosting and introducing the category of Best Documentary, I believe, and Chris Rock does what he's being paid for. Cracking jokes, making people laugh, and presenting the award. That's why he's being paid a hefty sum of money for the 3-4 minutes he's going to be on stage. He arrives, looks around, scans the room, sees Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz, and cracks a joke. And everybody's laughing, and he's laughing, and his wife, Penelope Cruz, is laughing. Next to them, we have the Smiths, Will and Jada Pinkett Smith. Will is still laughing at the Bardem joke. Chris Rock sees Jada Pinkett Smith. She looks great for a 50-year-old woman. She's in good shape, good body, short haircut. He cracks a joke. And he says, Jada, I love you. That's how he starts the joke. I love you. And I can't wait to see you in the next G.I. Jane 2 movie. It's a joke, it's funny. I laughed when I heard it. Many people laughed in the audience. Her husband, Will Smith, laughed. And the show goes on because he only has 2-3 minutes left. He must introduce the winner of the Best Documentary. And how he's getting ready, Will Smith is standing up. The guy was laughing literally a second ago. Now he's standing up and he's walking towards him. Chris Rock doesn't know what's going on. He's wondering what the joke's going to be. He's going to speak into his mic, say something back, roast him a little bit, fake pretend something. He doesn't know, he's a bit confused. Will Smith approaches him, gets close to him, and with no warning, sucker punches him. Slaps him in the face, hits him hard in the face, goes back to his seat with a little smirk on his face, proud of himself, sits down and swears at the guy. F-bomb followed by another F-bomb. Now that is unacceptable, and you know that's why I'm so sick of these people. That's why I'm so disgusted by these people who are praising this act of violence. You guys are not well if you're encouraging this type of behavior. Oh no, she's got alopecia, so that joke was unacceptable. She's got a disease. Listen, first of all, I personally had no idea that she had alopecia before this whole blowout exploded, I'm sure Chris Rock didn't know. I don't know what she has and what she doesn't have. I don't know what kind of disease Will Smith has or what medication he's on for blood pressure or whatever. I have no idea. I don't know what Tom Cruise is on. I don't know if so-and-so has diabetes and so-and-so has hypothyroidism and so-and-so has hypercholesterolemia. This is people's private matter. So I've got no idea what people have. But apparently she's got alopecia. So people are jumping on Chris Rock and praising Will Smith, the attacker, for this disgusting act of violence. Again, from that act, two things. Number one, okay, she's got alopecia, so what? From a doctor's point of view, look, alopecia is not stage 4 cancer. Yes, you're losing your hair, it's mentally, it takes your self-confidence, it takes your confidence away, but it's not a fatal disease. Like I said, it's not stage 4 breast cancer. It's not a death sentence. It's not an HIV diagnosis. It's not, you understand. So we need to put things into perspective. We need to put things into their right context. It's alopecia, so what? Do you know how many bold jokes there are? And how many jokes about bald men are floating around and are being thrown around, and usually people just laugh. Baldness, male baldness, is a form of alopecia. And as a doctor, I find it ridiculous to say that, oh my God, she's got a disease, it's alopecia, how could you do that? This is horrible, this is cruel. It's a G.I. Jane joke. The joke had nothing to do with alopecia. She's having this low-cut hairstyle. She's in shape. She's beautiful. She could be in G.I. Jane too, like Demi Moore was. It's a joke. It's a G.I. Jane joke. Come on. Number two, alopecia. And now I understand that she's got alopecia. Look, alopecia there's many forms of alopecia, From looking at her pictures and the videos I've seen of her coming and leaving the Oscars, it's not severe alopecia. You see, there's many different forms of alopecia. The most known form is alopecia areata, right? So alopecia areata is the autoimmune disorder, where you're losing your hair. Now, even myself, as a doctor, I'd have no idea of knowing that Jada Pinkett has alopecia. Just looking at her, it looks like she's got a full pattern of hair. And like many forms of alopecia areata, where you've got patchy areas of hair loss, right? Now, as I said, alopecia, yes, it takes away your confidence, especially as a woman. It's unfortunate. But come on, it was a G.I. Jane joke. It was not a joke about her alopecia. Anyway, in brief, alopecia areata. I mean, alopecia, there's many different types of alopecia. You've got alopecia areata. You've got FHPL, female hair loss pattern, FHPL, yeah. And you've got FFA, frontal fibrosis alopecia. So anyway, alopecia, so you've got alopecia areata. Alopecia areata is subdivided into alopecia totalis and alopecia universalis. These are the severe forms. In alopecia totalis, you lose the totality of your hair follicles on your scalp. So your hair follicles are not producing hair anymore. That's called alopecia areata totalis. When that happens, your head is completely bald. You look like Lex Luthor. Or like me, actually, you know. Even more severe than that, and that's the most severe form of alopecia, is alopecia areata universalis. In that form of alopecia, you lose all your hair follicles everywhere on your body. They are all completely destroyed. You have no hair on your head, no eyebrows, no axillary hair, no pubic hair, no hair on your skin. You are completely hairless. You know, like these types of small dogs with no hair? Like that. So that's alopecia areata totalis, alopecia areata universalis. You also have alopecia areata ophiacis. In alopecia areata ophiacis, you're losing your hair follicles in a band type of way. So it's like a band of hair is missing. Because of that, if you're growing a lot of hair, it's not going to be visible. But the minute you go for a very short haircut, then you will see the band. That's alopecia areata ophiacis. And you also have alopecia areata ophiacis inversus. In ophiacis inversus, you're losing your hair from the center, so it's a centrally located loss that expands like a ring, but your peripheral hair follicles are not affected. So you're left with hair, you know, like a ring, like a crown, you know, like you know those images of Christian monks in the 19th, 18th, 17th, 16th century, where that look, you know. So that's alopecia ophiacis inversus, like Zinedine Zidane, right? Now this is for alopecia areata, which is an autoimmune disease, but you also have other types of alopecia, not autoimmune or not to be proven autoimmune, and where the etiology is yet to be discovered. For instance, you've got alopecia FHPL, female hair loss pattern, also called androgenetic female alopecia. Androgenetic alopecia in females. And you have FFA. FFA, FFA, frontal fibrosis alopecia. Frontal fibrosis, meaning you're losing your hair from the front and your hairline is receding progressively, like LeBron James before the hair transplant. So that's FFA. That's FFA, frontal fibrosis alopecia. So you see there's many different terms of alopecia, and some are more severe than others. And by the way, from what I can see, looking at pictures and videos of Jada Pinkett Smith coming to the awards and leaving the awards, right? The Academy Award ceremony. To me, because now I was looking, after it became known that she's got alopecia, I was looking at the pictures, I was looking at her head, looking at her hair, and to me it looks like she's got hair. She doesn't have these patchy hair losses. So I would say that the alopecia that she has, just looking at the pictures, I could be mistaken, is DAA, diffuse alopecia areata. In diffuse alopecia areata, you're losing the quality of your hair, this thinning of the hair. So your hair are there, but they are thinning. Usually in elderly people, you will see alopecia, diffuse alopecia areata. Alopecia is treatable, not always. Sometimes it happens, and then it disappears. And then your hair starts growing again healthily. Right? It can be due to severe stress. It can be due to several different things, and sometimes we don't know why you have alopecia. Right? Again, I'm not a dermatologist. I'm an emergency doctor, so I'm limited in my knowledge of alopecia, right? But grosso modo, that's it. Treatment, so first of all, you can start with biotin, high-dose biotin, that's over-the-counter medicine, usually 1,000 micrograms and above. If you take multivitamins, you will see that usually, like a good multivitamin product, we say there's biotin, but usually only up to 300 micrograms. 300 micrograms is not going to be enough. It's going to be enough if you just want to have healthier hair and nails. But if you want to treat hair loss, if you want to treat alopecia, I would suggest 5,000 micrograms of biotin a day. So treatments of alopecia, biotin supplementation for several months, and you will see you will see a difference if your hair follicles are not destroyed completely. Meaning if you have hair thinning, but the hair follicle is still producing hair, but just thin hair, then biotin will help you. Failure of treatment of biotin, you can move to now prescription medication like minoxidil. And failure of minoxidil, you can move on to the spironolactone and other forms of medical treatments. And ultimately, if there's total treatment failure to every medical treatment that has been prescribed to you by your dermatologist, then hair transplantation becomes an option, or just shave your head completely and adopt that new look. Right? So I'm saying all that to say that, alopecia, unless it's alopecia areata universalis or totalis or ophiacis inversus, yes, it's terrible, but let's not go off on Twitter and talk as if a joke has been made about Jada Pinkett having this terrifying, horrible, debilitating, terminal disease. Looking at her physically, for me as a doctor, I wouldn't be able to tell that she's got alopecia actually, Hence, I'm thinking she's got diffuse alopecia areata. I'm not justifying Chris Rock's joke, because I don't even think that his joke was about alopecia. The joke was about her look. Low haircut, physically fit. To be honest, that joke was a little bit like a compliment as well, you know. So it depends on how you're taking a joke. You can take it as a compliment, actually, because if you're obese, out of shape, with a bald head, then no, you would not have said, hey man, you know, you're getting ready for G.I. Jane 2, you know. No, obviously. He said that because she's fit, she's in shape, she's beautiful. So I think, you know, we should stop with just dramatizing everything for the sake of justifying the criminal assault that Will Smith has committed on Chris Rock live on stage. The assault, people are talking as if, oh, it was just a slap. No, that slap, he could have killed him. Would you still be saying that, oh yes, he's a hero, he protected his wife's honor and blah, 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 blah. If Chris Rock had died, he could have died. As an emergency and trauma doctor, I can tell you that people have died from a single blow to the face. I saw a woman who was hit on the face. She fell on her face. And when I saw her in the ER, she had, you know, bilateral periorbital ecchymosis. She had signs of a basal skull fracture. It turns out that, you know, when I did a scan, an MRI, she had a basal skull fracture. She had some brain hemorrhage. She was in bad shape. Bad shape. She survived, but she could have died. And people die from fall after a single blow to the face. So that slap, he could have lost his balance, fell backward, hit the occipital part of his head against the hard floor, and be left with a cerebral contusion or hemorrhage, and, you know, be left in a coma or even die. So that's a serious assault. In a fight, you can sort of brace yourself for impact. Being sucker punched, or, you know, sucker slap punched like that, you don't know it's coming, so you're unprepared. You can suffer a neck fracture, a cervical fracture, the motion of your head. You can suffer facial fractures, you know, a maxillary fracture, mandibular injuries, dental fractures. And then the impact of the fall, you can dislocate your shoulder, you can break your shoulder, you can break your hip, you know, you can break your ribs and get a pneumothorax or a hemothorax or both. And obviously an accentuated neck injuries, a brain injuries. And you can die. So this is very serious. There's no excuse for violence. And so having said that, having seen this man, this host, being the victim of such a violent assault, and then 5-10 minutes later, seeing the aggressor, the assailant, being celebrated and getting a standing ovation. I mean, come on, you know, that's the part that was really sickening for me. Honestly, that was disgusting. I've lost all respect I had for Will Smith. I'm disgusted with the crowd, all the people in the audience that stood up to give this thug a standing ovation. That was sick to watch. That just shows you the moral compass of these celebrities. Just disgusting behavior. And it's not like your wife You see, Denzel Washington's wife is not an actress. She's not in the public eye. And so if he had made a joke about Denzel Washington's wife's appearance, that would have been uncalled for and unacceptable. When Chris Rock makes a joke about Will Smith's wife, he's not making a joke about Will Smith's wife. He's making a joke about Jada Pinkett. She's a public figure. She's an actress. And so, look, she can be roasted. Of course she can. If you make a joke about Javier Bardem's wife, Penelope Cruz, she's an actress. She's there because she's been nominated. So it's fair game. But if you're going to make a joke about Steven Spielberg's wife and the way she looks, I mean, no, you would never do that. Of course not. Or about such and such an actor's kid. No, of course, that's, so I think people have to put things into perspective and be reasonable. The joke was acceptable. But even if it wasn't, because of course you're allowed to be offended, that act of violence is unacceptable. It's disgusting. And shame on all of you who gave this aggressor a standing ovation. He should have been removed from the venue. Remember what I said at the beginning. This is a working event. There is a code of conduct. An attack like that at any working event, you would have been thrown out and the police would have been called. This is unacceptable. And all of you praising Will Smith for that, branding him a hero, giving him a standing ovation, it's so disappointing. This world is just sad. And that brings me to my final point. The Oscars producers, the Academy Award producers, the Academy. These people are completely incompetent. There was a security risk. The man had lost it. He assaulted the host. He assaulted Chris Rock. As I've explained, he could have injured him. He could have killed him. He casually returns to his seat and then drops F-bombs. Unacceptable. Twice. And the whole time is not being removed. Security is not being called. Complete BS. It's easier when you see that to understand how Harvey Weinstein went on for so many years sexually assaulting women in Hollywood. While people in high places knew about this and did nothing about that. Why? Because he was making good money. It's easy to understand now when you look at what has happened there. Nothing. No consequences for that. That's just sick, man. But like I said, for me, the standing ovation was just horrible to watch. And then the speech that Will Smith made, please, man, give me a break. That was sick to watch. The fake tears and the emotions and the bullshit, talking about God and being called to protect people. Protecting people, how? By punching other people in the face? By hitting other people in the face? Come on, man. The amount of dissociation with the real world is unbelievable. The amount of entitlement is unbelievable. To do that, it's just disturbing to watch. I mean, I will never. I'm not going to watch another Will Smith movie. I'm going to be part of the millions of people around the world who will not watch another Will Smith movie. To say that no, this is not okay. I'm not comfortable supporting the art that this individual is producing. I mean, that's just, not until there is true remorse, heartfelt remorse. He's going to have to convince people that I just don't see. It's really bad. It's sad. It's really sad. A man of your stature and influence could have hit back in many, many, many different non-violent ways. Apparently, it was clear that Will Smith was going to win the Oscar. So he could have used that time, that platform to say that, you know what, to Chris Rock, that joke on my wife, that's not okay. She's suffering from alopecia. It's been a very difficult few years for her. And, really, we didn't like that, And maybe a bit of awareness about alopecia, and, that would have been nice. And people would have applauded. Or speak to him after the event and explain to him that, no, man, that's not okay, what you did, that was hurtful. There's so many different ways he could have handled that. So many different ways, man. I mean, we're teaching little kids who engage themselves in fights with other kids at school that violence is never the solution. Of course, there are situations where violence, physical violence, is understandable. I remember when I was, I think I was 10 years old, in Europe, in Switzerland. And, I grew up in Switzerland, so I was going to school, I was at school, and there was this Italian kid. We were all the same age. So, wait a minute, how old was I? 12, 11, 10, 9. I was 9 years, no, I was not. Okay, I might have been 9, I might have been 10. I was not 11 yet, yeah. So I was 9 or 10 years old. Let's just say I was 10 years old, right? And so I was in Switzerland. And in that city, I was the only black kid in the entire town. The only black kid. And obviously the only black kid at school. So, this Italian kid was on my case. He kept insulting me. You fucking African monkey, you fucking, nigger, you, and he kept going on and on and on. And it was actually I don't know, at first he insulted me, didn't respond. I was already judo trained, because I started judo when I was 9 years old, actually. I remember at that time, I had already done judo for some time. So I could have effed him up, But then we went on. We got into class. Then there was a break. During the break, he went on again, kept quiet for a little while, and then when we went back into the class, he started again. And at that moment, we were about to get back into the class, and he said, "You fucking African, why don't you?" And I just lost it, and I grabbed the guy, and I hit him. I don't remember exactly where I hit him, but I hit him, and then I grabbed him again, and did a judo move, and the guy was on the floor, crying. And so, of course, teacher called me and gave me this long speech about non-violence. And this is not the way, and violence is not going to solve anything, and blah, 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 blah. And my parents were called, and my parents told me the same thing. Although, as I remember, my mother did tell me when we went home that, yeah, he deserved it. If somebody does that to you, just, but that was the only time, yeah. But anyway, I'm saying this to say that, I was 10 years old, for Christ's sake, And I already knew that, you don't do that. But that was like a situation, that was an extreme situation. I'm a kid in front of a racist kid who's just regurgitating all the racist stuff about black people that he's hearing his parents say at home, and so he's regurgitating the stuff to me. Anyway, after that event, he never ever tried that again. In fact, nobody ever attempted to throw some racist stuff at me, for the rest of that year. But obviously, the years after that, there were more and more BS like that, I was once attacked by a group of... anyway, that's another story, But my point is, this is wrong. And to all the children, if there's any kid watching this vlog, this video, just know that don't follow these degenerates that you saw at the Oscars, clapping and praising Will Smith for his violent act of cowardice. No, this is wrong. There are situations where you have to defend yourself, and there are situations where you're going to be in a situation like I was when I was a kid, when somebody is coming at you, insulting your mother, insulting your father, insulting you repeatedly, throwing some racist stuff at you or whatever it is, and then you tell the guy to stop doing that because you're going to do something now, and he carries on, and then, they've been warning, you being verbally abused, and then yes, I would understand then if you approached the person and shut him up with, like a punch or a slap or something, But these are extenuating circumstances. What we've witnessed at the Academy Awards was a disgrace. It was an assault over a joke, a light joke. And you have a middle-aged man, a 54-year-old middle-aged man, hitting a 57-year-old middle-aged man. This is absolutely disgraceful. And in conclusion, I would say that, this is sickening. I'm glad I've made this video to talk about this because I'm feeling better now. All of you in Hollywood and all of you on Twitter and all of you are praising Will Smith as a hero. All of you are praising this. We are justifying this. We are doing some mental gymnastics to say that yes, it was right, he was protecting a honor. We are not in the Middle Ages. But if you're watching this channel and you're a subscriber, then I know that you're not part of these people. Because we here on this channel, we are always striving to be better today than we were yesterday. Cheers.